Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the English YouTuber. Today we'll be discussing yet another important essay. This essay is about the topic that the proportion of senior citizens is increasing more than the number of youngsters in certain countries. So, does it bring about more pros or more cons to the society? So, are you ready? Let's begin. So, first, let's read the question properly. In many countries, the proportion of older people is steadily increasing. Does this trend have more positive or negative effects on the society? So either they are going to be more positives or they're going to be more negatives. So this is an 80-20 type of essay where one opinion will be a lot more and the other opinion will be at 20%. So because we'll be using the word older people a lot of times, first I have written some synonyms so that in the essay, in different places, we can use these words. The first word is retirees. So instead of old people, you can write retirees, you can write senior citizens, you can write pensioners, or you can write geriatric people. So geriatric people are normally people who are above the age of 65. Okay. So after coming to the synonyms, now we are going to brainstorm and think about certain points. Now, if there are a lot of old people in the society and very yet less of young people or workforce, what is going to happen? So if there is fewer workforce, it causes an additional burden, not only to the government, but also to the family members, because the older people will face a lot of health challenges. And if they are not pensioners, or if they are from a low income group, it can cause not only difficulty to themselves, but also it can cause an additional burden on the working member of the family. Also, if there are higher number of senior citizens who are retirees and only less people are working, then they could face an additional burden of high tax that they would have to pay so that the government can make enough money for infrastructure. Also, because of this, the country is going to face lower economic productivity. And if there are a lot of senior citizens, then it can also cause intra-generational tension, because we know that many of the pensioners or people above 65, they have a very conservative mindset and they might not change the way of thinking as per the advancements in technology. So this might cause transgenerational tension among the youngsters and the elder people. This could also hamper the development of the country. So this is just a gist of what all points would be included. See, if we don't brainstorm, we will not know which point has more negatives and which has more positives. Then, what are the positives of having more senior citizens? So, senior citizens, they are a repository of wisdom and experience, which does not come immediately to youngsters. It is only through years of experience does it come. So we can immediately get the knowledge and information from them, and we can prevent mistakes from happening in the future. Also, they can help in cultural transfer and help to keep the culture alive of a particular place. Because as you know, the tradition and culture of a place is slowly waning away because youngsters are not adapting to a lot of the old cultures that were followed. So if there are a lot of senior citizens, it can help keep the culture alive and also help in the transfer of culture. So this is just a gist. Now I'm going to read out the sample answer that I have written of what you could have written in this essay. Okay, so when I'm writing the introduction paragraph, the first line is going to be a general statement. So they are already saying that the number of senior citizens have increased. So why have they increased? So the reason you can give in the first line. Due to the improvements in healthcare facilities, sanitation, and nutrition, it has caused a worldwide shift in the demographics of human longevity. So, what is longevity? Longevity means life expectancy. So, if you know, before, a lot of young babies used to die because of diarrhea. But now, if kids have diarrhea, there is medicine for that. Many people used to die of even diseases like heart problems or cancer. But now, because of advancement in the medical field, the life expectancy or the longevity of people has increased. So, due to improvements in healthcare facilities, sanitation, and nutrition, before a lot of people also used to die of malnutrition, but now a lot of fortified foods with nutrition is there so that people don't die of malnutrition also. Moreover, with declining fertility rates, so nowadays people are finding it very difficult to conceive naturally. So the fertility rates have also declined. So the proportion of geriatrics have grown substantially in the past few years. Also, if you know, many people now prefer to have just one child or maximum two children, and some couples don't even want children. So in the past, we know many families had six, seven, eight children. So now, because there are less youngsters, the number of senior citizens or geriatric people has grown substantially in the past few decades. I believe that such a shift in population structure brings about more drawbacks than merits. So, this is my opinion. You can also, if you want, write that there are more advantages, but the most sensible thing to do is support the view that it is negative. Okay, now let's go to the points and see what I have written. The main reason supporting my view is that, along with the rise in retirees, it brings about various socio-economic and health challenges. So let's see what the health challenges are. To elaborate, so I have written a point here and now I am going to explain that point. To elaborate, the aged individuals are prone, or you can write the word vulnerable, to have dementia, Alzheimer's, and mobility related disabilities. Therefore, they not only struggle with mental and physical ailments, but they have a feeling of burden on the family and the society. Also, many countries do not have adequate healthcare infrastructure to cater to their needs. Isn't that true? Many countries still don't have very good geriatric care system. And because of that, they struggle themselves and they also feel like they are a burden to the society. In addition to this, so I've added a linker, with high inflation and limited pension provided, they would struggle to make ends meet. So, to make ends meet is an idiom, which means even basic income कमाने के लिए भी उनको तकलीफ हो जाएगा. That is to make just enough money to survive. Therefore, it increases the responsibility of the youth, which could mean that they would have to face financial and economical strain, work extra hard in this competitive market, just so that financially they can stay afloat. So already there is inflation. They have the responsibility to earn, not only to make sure that they can satisfy their wants and desires, but they have an added burden to make sure that they earn enough so that the senior citizens' care is also taken. Also, the working age pyramid is widening, which causes the youngsters to lose out on opportunities and thus face unemployment issues. So, if there are a lot of senior citizens, they would never retire from their work, isn't it? So, only when they retire, new youngsters will get an opportunity to work there. So, if these number of older people are filled in companies, the youngsters will never get an opportunity to work, causing a lot of unemployment issues among the youth. Furthermore, with the decadal growth rate of the elderly population, in India, it is estimated to be 41% at present and is projected to double to over 20% of a total population by 2050. So, with the growth of elderly population increasing so much, such a scenario would cause the shrinkage of labor force and that would lead to lower economic productivity. So it can directly hamper the economic productivity of the country because the number of workforce would be considerably less. The same problem was faced by China. In China, because of overpopulation, they first asked all the young crowd not to make children or a maximum of one child. But now what is happening? The proportion of older people is increasing and there is very less young workforce. So now the government is promoting people to have more children. The government would have to expend a large sum of their funds towards pension and long-term geriatric care, causing them to overlook other public sectors such as education and infrastructure. So now for the pensioners, if there are a lot of pensioners, a large sum of the money that the government has collected will go towards pension. So because of that, other fields or other sectors such as education and infrastructure can be overlooked. Also, there is a potential for intra-generational tension as their conservative nature might hamper the development of the country. I've already explained this point in the beginning. Because of their conservative mindset, they might come in between certain decisions which would be vital in the development of the country, but because they have been doing something in a very structured way for very many years, they might curb or obstruct the development of the country. However, we cannot also ignore the positive contributions they can make. So now I have come to the 20% view where I'm going to write 2 points positive about the fact if there are more senior citizens. The older generation serve as a repository. Now, repository means a place where things are stored. So the older generation, they serve as a repository of wisdom, knowledge and experience. And they can enrich and enlighten the youngsters with this valuable knowledge that only comes with years of experience. Hence, their insight can avert means prevent any impending mistakes that the youth would commit. Likewise, they have the cognizance of the values, virtues, and culture which they can inculcate to the youth and help the country conserve its ethical values and guide the moral conduct of people. So, the meaning of the word cognizance means they have the knowledge or the awareness. So, therefore, they can inculcate great values and guide the moral conduct of people. So we have completed the essay. Now we are going to the conclusion. Thus, in a nutshell, the demographic shift offers more of a challenge to the society as there would be increased tax burden on the working class and strain on the health system. But with timely policy interventions and social support, the older generation can be a pillar of wisdom and support to the youth and the nation's growth. So आप बोल रहे हो कि हाँ challenges है, लेकिन हम उसको control भी कर सकते हैं. And we have completed the essay. I hope you got beautiful points. So, even if you get this essay now, I think you're confident enough to write this essay, isn't it? And I hope you are going to use all these beautiful vocabularies that are mentioned here so that you can get great marks in your examinations. All the very best. I'm praying for each one of you. God bless.